Here we go. Thank you very much. I am Talibita Moses, and I've chosen a topic which is very central in the implementation of the Tobacco Control Act. And this is central in the sense that it's important that tobacco control laws, policies, and strategies are protected by government because government indeed has the ability, the muscle, the wherewithal, as you would call it, of doing so. So I am concentrating on articles, rather sections 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 25 of the Tobacco Control Act of 2015. Article 19 specifically states the government, the duty of government, section, or rather subsection 1, in the implementation of this act means the Tobacco Control Act number 22 of 2015, and any public health policies related to tobacco control, it shall be the duty of government to, paragraph A, protect the public against the influence of and interference by the commercial and other vested interests of the Tobacco Control Act, the tobacco industry. And paragraph B, it is the duty of government to ensure that there is transparency in the interactions of government with the tobacco industry. Subsection 2 of section 19 says the records and the documents related to the interactions, communications, and contracts held between the government and the tobacco industry shall be transparent and open to the public. Section 20 says regulates government interactions with the tobacco industry. And subsection 1 of section 20, a person, body, or entity that contributes to or may contribute to the formulation, implementation, administration, enforcement, or monitoring of public health policies on tobacco control shall not interact with the tobacco industry except where it is strictly necessary for the effective regulation of the tobacco industry or a tobacco product. Subsection 2 says the interactions in subsection 1 shall be transparent, meaning they are public, they are recorded, and when they are being called, there is a notice, the participants register, and the record is kept for future purposes. Subsection 21 of the Tobacco Control Act prohibits partnerships or endorsements of the tobacco industry. So a person, body, or entity that contributes or may contribute to the formulation, implementation, administration, enforcement, or monitoring of the public health policies on tobacco control shall not participate in, support, endorse, or accept a partnership of any kind with the tobacco industry, including initiatives or activities of the tobacco industry described, characterized, implied, or likely to be perceived as socially responsible. So this law bans any corporate social responsibility activities of the tobacco industry being attended or supported or implemented or led by any person who represents government. And the person representing government is any such person who works in the ministries, department, and government agencies. B, any non-binding, entering into any non-binding or non-enforceable agreement, memorandum of understanding, voluntary arrangement, or tobacco industry code of conduct in the place of legally enforceable tobacco control measures. C, direct or indirectly, direct or indirect financial or resource contribution or involvement in any matter, rather in any manner, in any initiative, campaign or program directly or indirectly related to tobacco control or public health, including but not limited to youth access and education programs, public education campaigns, and other initiatives, or D, proposals, drafts, or offers of assistance with the development or implementation of any tobacco control policies. Subsection 2, Section 22 prohibits voluntary contributions from the tobacco industry. A person, body, or entity that contributes to or may contribute to the formulation, implementation, administration, enforcement, or monitoring of public health policies on tobacco control shall not solicit or accept contributions from the tobacco industry. And Section 23 prohibits incentives or privileges being extended to tobacco businesses. A person, body, or entity that contributes or may contribute to the formulation, implementation, administration, enforcement, or monitoring of public health policies on tobacco control shall not, in paragraph A of Section 23 of the Tobacco Control Act number 22 of 2015, provides as such. It is prohibited to provide any incentive, benefits, privileges, or preferential tax exemptions to the tobacco industry. B, invest in the tobacco industry or related ventures. C, establish or operate a tobacco manufacturing, wholesale, or import business. Or D, give any incentive or offer a privilege related to any phase of the production or marketing of tobacco products or growing of tobacco. And the penalties are enshrined in Section 24, and these provide punishment for contravention for Sections 22, 21, 22, and 23, and provides that a person who contravenes Sections 21, 22, or 23 commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a cancellation of the partnership, endorsement, memorandum of understanding, or any other agreement. B, forfeiture of the contribution from the tobacco industry. Or C, revocation of the incentive, benefit, privilege, or preferential tax exemptions, if any. Section 25 talks about prevention and management of conflict of interest, and subsection 1 of 25 says a person who contributes to or may contribute to the formulation, administration, implementation, enforcement, or monitoring of tobacco, or other public health policies on tobacco control shall not engage in any occupation activity that may create a conflict of interest. And 2, conflict of interest shall be taken to arise when a person referred to in subsection 1 deals with a matter in which he or she has interest and where he or she is in a position to influence the matter directly or indirectly in the course of his or her duty. Paragraph B, by virtue of the official position the person holds, the services he or she offers to another person or private body and neither are in conflict or with his or her official duties. Or C, solicits or gets a bribe to influence his or her actions. Subsection 3 says a person shall not be assigned a position to contribute to, or where the person is likely to contribute to the formulation, implementation, administration, enforcement, or monitoring of public health policies on tobacco control activities if that person has engaged in any occupational activity with the tobacco industry within less than 2 years of the proposed assignment. And subsection 4 of section 25, a person who contributes to or may contribute to the formulation, implementation, administration, enforcement, of monitoring of public health policies on tobacco control shall not engage in any occupational activity with the tobacco industry within a period of 24 months of leaving government services, and the person shall be bound by the confidentiality clause with respect to any matter involving tobacco control policies or program development or implementation prescribed by the minister by statutory instrument. And subsection 5, a person who was previously engaged in any occupation activity with the tobacco industry who seeks employment in any body, private or public, that contributes to or is likely to contribute to the formulation, implementation, administration, enforcement, or monitoring of public health policies on tobacco control shall disclose the nature and extent of his or her duties during the period when he or she was engaged in any occupation activity with the tobacco industry. And subsection 6, a person who who contributes to or may contribute to the formulation, implementation, administration, enforcement, or monitoring of public health policies on tobacco control shall, by written notice within 7 days of accepting to engage in any occupation activity with the tobacco industry, disclose his or her intention to the Tobacco Control Committee. The person who contravenes this section commits an offence and shall be liable on conviction to a fine of not less than 240 currency points or imprisonment for a term not less than 5 years or both. Subsection 8 of 25, in addition to the penalty prescribed in subsection 7, the court may, having regard to the loss suffered by the government or public body, order a person to pay by way of compensation to government or public body such sums as in the court's opinion is just. Subsection 9 of 25, the order issued under subsection 8 shall be deemed to be a decree under section 25 of the Civil Procedures Act and shall be executed in the manner provided under section 39 of the Civil Procedure Act. Now, this section of the Tobacco Control Act is very central, as I have said, and it's very crucial in the enforcement of public health policies. Now, it's of great importance to appreciate what are public health policies. Of course, public health policies include taxes that restrict smoking or tobacco products being sold or marketed to persons below 21 years or citizens for that matter. But most importantly, in section 1 of the Tobacco Control Act, section 2 of the Tobacco Control Act provides, in this act, unless the context otherwise provides, tobacco control policies includes formulation, implementation, administration, or enforcement of tobacco control policies, laws, regulations, programs, or initiatives, and includes policies relevant or related to tobacco control. And it is imperative that we also understand what amounts to tobacco industry. Tobacco industry means A, with respect to Part 2 and Part 9, tobacco manufacturers, wholesale distributors, and importers of tobacco products and a person or entity working on their behalf to further their interests. And B, with respect to Part 8 and Section 43, tobacco manufacturers, wholesalers, distributors, and importers of tobacco products. And a tobacco product means a product which is entirely or partly made of the leaf tobacco as raw material which is manufactured to be used for smoking, sucking, chewing, snuffing, or to be consumed by any other means. It's also important to know what amounts to tobacco sponsorship. It means a form of contribution to an event, activity, organization, or to an individual that has the aim, effect, or likely effect of promoting a tobacco product or tobacco use directly or indirectly. Thank you very much. Together we can protect the lives of Ugandans and their visitors from the debilitating effects of the Tobacco Control Act. It is important to also appreciate that these sections 19, 20, 21, 23, 22, and 25 were trying to domesticate Article 5.3 of the World Health Organization Convention on Tobacco Control, which is in its acronym called the WHO FCTC. I say this for God and my country because Article 39 of the 1995 Constitution as amended guarantees every citizen the right to a clean and healthy environment. Thank you.